class. So in the previous class we have discussed what is pointer and the relation between array and pointer. So today we will discuss function and pointer. Okay, so pointer I have already discussed in details. So let's see how pointer and function works together. Okay, suppose I'm writing an example of swapping two number. You know what is swapping, right? Like suppose number 1 contains 10 and number 2 contains 20. When you swap these two numbers, number 1 becomes 20, number 2 becomes 10. Okay, so let's write a program for that without using pointer, and let's see what we get. I'm not going to I'm not going to explain the programming from the initial because I have already discussed quite n number of times. Just one thing I will mention here, because I'm writing a function in the later part of the program, so I am writing the prototype in the above main function, so that when it encounters the name of the function, the compiler does not give an error. Okay, suppose my function is swap int int. So what I have done here, I have just declared the prototype. See, there is no body for the function swap as of now. It will be written later on. Now let's take main function because it is int type, so I am writing a return 0. Now let's write it. Suppose I take two number int num1 and comma num2. Okay, now num1 is initialized with say 10 and num2 is initialized with say 20. Okay, now let's write a printf the value of num1 equals to percent d and num2 is equals to percent d num1 comma num2. Then I will call the swap function num1 comma num2, and I will pass num1 and num2 as argument of swap function. Okay, then again write the same printf. I will explain this entire program. Let me first write it. Printf the value of again the value of the on returning to main function. Let's give a new line in every way so that it is more readable. Okay, now let me write the swap function. Int swap, say I'm taking two number int n1 comma and int n2. Okay, so these n1 and n2 are parameters of swap function. Okay, then because I'm taking int, so I'm here writing return 0. Now what I'm doing here, I'm taking a temp variable. Okay, so when you swap, how you swap? You swap two numbers like this. You take a third variable temp. In place of temp, you place n1. In place of n1, you place n2, and in place of n2, you place n1. Okay, Now write a printf. Printf the value of num1 inside the swap function value, and here I will write n1 and n2. Let's see what happens here. Just a minute. Why it is not putting? Just a minute. Let me again open it. This CA got hang. Let me open the once again. Why it is getting hanged? Okay, now execute. The value of num1 equals to 10. Okay, num2 is 20. Yeah, that is what I have entered. So this one gets printed. Now it comes to the new line. Okay. Oh, sorry. So the value of num1 is 10, num2 is 20. Okay. Now when it gets printed, the swap function is called. When it calls the swap function, what is I am sending? Swap. I am sending num1 and num2 as an argument of swap. So this num1, whatever the value of num1, that is 10, is getting stored in n1. And where the value of num2, that is 20, is getting stored in n2. Okay. So from here it directly comes to this point. It does not go to the next point because I am calling the function. So it directly goes to the called function. The called function is the swap function. So here I am taking a temp variable. In temp I am putting n1. What is n1? n1 is 10. Okay. Now and in n1 I am putting n2. What is n2? n2 is 20. Now in n2 I am putting sorry. Here it will have I will have temp. Sorry. There is. Yeah, that is why boom. Yeah, okay. Again, I have to execute it. Okay. So, and now again in place of n2, I am putting temp. What is temp? Temp was 10. Okay. Now, so n1 becomes 20, n2 becomes 10. Now, inside the swap function, the value of num1 is equals and num2 is n1, n2. What is n1 now? After swapping, n1 becomes 20, n2 becomes 10. Okay. See, inside the swap function, n1 is 20 and n2 equals to 10. Now, when the function ends, it goes back to this point. Okay, it goes back from where it was called. So it goes back to this point and the statement ends, so it comes here. Now when this function ends, the value of n1 and n2, these are local variable. Whenever a function ends, the local variable also dies. Okay. So the scope of local variable is till the function, till you are in that function. So when you come back from the swap function, the n1, n2 dies. Okay, the value does not exist anymore. But num1 and num2 are there. Okay, because I am back to main function. So now what is happening? Now when you are writing printf, See, again the value of num1 and num2 on returning to the main function is 10 and 20. So when you are in swap function, the swap actually happens. Num1 becomes num2 and just a minute. Hello? हाँ हाँ अच्छा. So num1 becomes 20 and num2 becomes 10. But when you come back to main function, again it becomes 10 and 20. So with with this method, the swap happens, but it only remains with the swap function. It does not exist afterwards. Okay. So this is a disadvantage. So overcome this disadvantage, we can use pointer.